Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of UCB on Mission. If you are a Christian, then you are following Jesus on his mission to love God and love neighbor. My part of the mission looks different than your part of the mission, so UCB on Mission lets us learn together about our work together as a church family on the mission of God. As the Apostle Paul says, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. We're speaking today with Tatiana Ordoñez, designer and founder of Zuahaza. Please let us know that you're on the chat, and if you have any questions for Tatiana, let me get Tatiana pulled. Hey, Tatiana.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you so much for coming on our show. As people come on the chat, I'll encourage them to ask questions, and as is appropriate, I'll interrupt and ask you some of the questions that folks have for you. That's one of the benefits of doing a live interview. So why don't we just start, Tatiana, with you introducing yourself. If folks don't know you already in our church, tell us a little bit about who you are and where you're coming from and what you do.
Sure. Yes. Great. My name is Tatiana. I am from Colombia, from Bogota. I lived here, grew up here, and then went to the States to do an art degree. I spent a couple of years working and finding out my calling as a designer, as an artist, to really do what I love for the kingdom of God. So that's kind of my backstory. Then I came back to Colombia, and I've been living here for 2 years already, starting this business.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about Zuahaza, and maybe you can start just by telling us what the name means.
Sure. Okay. So the word Zuahaza comes from two words, actually, Zua and Haza. From the Muisca language. If people are not familiar with the Muisca, they were indigenous population from this region of Colombia. Zua means my, and Haza means sister. I kind of combined both to create the name Zuahaza. The whole idea of the business, more than making products that were beautiful and to make a business out of this, was to create a business that would embody sisterhood. My whole idea also was really coming back to Colombia after living abroad and understanding the kind of problems that existed here still with trust, mostly. There is a huge problem with trust in our country because of all of the pain and hurt that we have gone through. And so the idea of creating a business that would embody what really sisterhood means was trying to be part of the reconciliation of coming together as Colombians, no matter who you are, no matter where you're coming from, and really creating sort of like a family and help each other. So that was kind of the idea behind the name.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. I love that vision. Tell us a little bit more about what makes Zuahaza unique from perhaps other home design companies.
Sure. So I guess one of the main verses that I wanted to share also with that was John 13:34-35, which says, "A new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another." I wanted to share that because I think to start a business really wanting to honor God in everything I did, for me was this verse, really understanding what it means to love your neighbor, what it means to love your neighbor like yourself, and kind of walking that out. So every single aspect of the business, in terms of the materials that I use, the processes that we use, the way that we communicate with our employees, with our clients, everything has to embody this verse for me, this command. So I would give, I guess, three main ways that I can answer your question and how it is different from just the general textile and fashion industry. For people that don't know, the fashion and textile industry, it's a very it's very broken. It has a lot of problems in the way that we treat people and the planet. Many people that work in the garment industry are not paid fairly. They are not treated well. They are abused many times. And also the way that they create products is very harmful to the environment by using dyes and processes that are just harmful to our water sources and our oceans and soils. So from that specific problem that exists in the industry that I work in, I wanted to address every kind of aspect. So, first of all, fair trade. For me, fair trade means that we need to treat each other equally. If I was in the position of being in a region where I don't have access to education, or I don't have access to a lot of jobs, and I am generally marginalized, I would like to have an opportunity to make a living income and to help and support my family. So in that way, I think about the artisans that I work with in that same way. I want to honor them. I want to believe in their skills and to honor who they are and treat them as daughters. And in that way, we pay them fairly for their work, so that they can, yeah, they can not just have the basic needs met, but they can send their kids to school and kind of, like all of us, advance in our dreams. The second part, it would be that all the materials that we use are honoring and respecting our environment as well. So we can get very complicated in the way that our things are made today, but to make it simple, materials that are organic, which means that they don't have pesticides, they don't have harmful chemicals, they are just grown and harvested in a more natural, organic way, are way better for our health and the health of our planet. They're a little bit harder to find nowadays, but I think that it's worth the effort, because in that way, I know that we're taking care of the resources that God has given us. And then thirdly, I also just I see in craft an image, a skill that God has given us. He created us in His image, and He created us to be creators as well and to make things. And the skills of being a craftsman or a craftswoman, I think, is highly speaks to Him. So I want to preserve those skills as long as we can, because we live in a world that everything is mostly made with machines, made really fastly, made kind of in a way that takes a lot of the culture away from it. So really trying to help these communities that still rely on their craft to have an income for their families.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. All right, it's time for my favorite segment of our program, Tatiana. I've warned you about this. It's questions from a kid, and it's a moment where a kid asks you a question about what you do in the mission of God, and you have to answer those questions in a way that a kid can understand them. Today, our kid is Lena, so let me get Lena up here on the screen.
Hi, I'm Lena. Can I ask you some questions?
It's time for questions from a kid.
Okay, so, do you use any, specific colors or patterns in your designs?
Okay. Yeah, I can answer that. I think the image I have up right now is my creative wall from my studio. That answers the question. We, as designers, we really like taking inspiration from everything around us. And for me specifically, it is my country. I love Colombia. I love the mountains and also the oceans, the rivers, the colors from the streets. All of those colors really influence my designs. And also, because we make everything with organic materials, as I was saying, the colors that we actually have in our products are all made from plants and from vegetables. So, for example, there's a flower that's very orange, and then we can extract that color and put it into our yarn. So yes, I am really inspired by those colors and the patterns as well from from the streets, from music. I kind of make my work really abstract, but everything that I'm inspired by is from where we live.
That's super cool. So yeah, it's not just, hey, these are my favorite colors, but this is a reflection of the natural beauty that's already around us. That's excellent. I love that. Okay, over to Lena again for her second question.
Do you like? Why did you want to be a designer?
So since I was a little kid, since I have memory, really, I always painted. I always loved being creative. Always kind of got in trouble for writing on the walls and just being a little bit too crazy with my creative skills. But yeah, I always loved expressing how I felt. I always loved drawing nature, drawing animals. I was really drawn into the beauty of it. So when I grew up, I really wanted to continue to understand why God gave me this creativity, and to be able to apply it in a way that it would be honoring to Him and would be actually helping our world become more like the world that He envisioned for us and gave us. So yeah, it just kind of all came from the skill that He gave me, I think.
Super cool. So you heard it here on UCB on Mission that parents, if your kid draws on the walls, be that they're a natural designer. So embrace it, right?
Yeah.
All right, over to Lena again for her last question.
And how did you get to where you are? How did you become a designer?
Ooh, I think just taking one step at a time. So since I graduated high school 10 years ago, when I left high school, I took my big step, first big step on deciding what I wanted to study. I had the blessing of being able to go to college and decide my major. So there were a lot of different majors, a lot of different options, and I already knew that I wanted to do something creative. So I took the big step of just starting to study, to read, and to have classes with other people that knew how to do better painting and ceramics and just everything that had to do with being creative. And then as the years went by, as I studied, I think you start to realize what you like to do better than other things. I took a ceramics class, for example, as opposed to a photography class. I was like, oh, maybe I like ceramics better. And that way I ended up taking textiles class and I loved it. And I think since that class, I ended up deciding that I wanted to do textiles and to express my creativity through fiber and yarn.
That's super cool. Yeah, thank you for sharing, and thanks to Lena for those good questions from a kid. A question that I'm asking every guest that comes on this program is, so how does your work, how does your vocation fit within the mission of God? Help us understand that a little bit more, and I'll pull up your graphics here that you can show folks what you're talking about as you do.
Okay. I think there's many aspects to that. I think about God creating the world first and God intending the world to be this beautiful place where He can partner with humans to rule over it and care for it. And so I think that in this business, we have the mission to really show the world who we are by the way that we love one another and we love His planet and we care for His planet and His people. I think those are the main two things. So, for example, I touched a little bit on this before about the handmade aspect. He gave us this talent many times in the Bible when they were building the temples. For example, he said that He called, skilled craftsmen to build a temple, to make this beautiful temple and the garments. And he's all over the Bible expressing how He created men and women in His image. And that means that He gave us His skills to make the world a more beautiful and better place. So I think one of the aspects is really caring for the handmade process, caring for the people that that have been doing this for generations and centuries. The women that I work with, they are ancestors from an indigenous tribe called the Guane people from the Santander region of Colombia. And they are so passionate about what they do because it comes in their family. They used to do it for, all of their clothes were made from the fabrics that they make. And so they really want to preserve their culture because it's part of who they are. So that's one big value I think that it's worth caring for. Another part is being an ethical business. I call ethical a business when we are truly wanting to love our neighbor, as I was saying, to really understand what it means to treat people equally. God is very clear about loving our neighbors and also caring for the vulnerable. So when I decided to start this business, I was really thinking about who's my neighbor, who can I care for. I have this talent that God has given me, and He has, helped me and trained me in university, but now I have to put it into action, into His kingdom, into building whatever He wants to build through the skills that He's given me. So He connected me with this group of women that were really excited to work on a new project, on new products that were more modern, that we could sell to a fair price, and we could just kind of tell their story through this product. But they didn't have the access to any market that would buy this product. They didn't have any access to anyone really paying fair wages. So I just saw an opportunity. I really thought that God was opening a door for us to work together so that they could actually make a good living out of what they do so well. And then also the sustainability part about really caring for our planet. So as I mentioned, really with the materials, not just the materials, but also with how much we make things. As I started to start this business, I realized how much we produce. We have so many things in this world. We buy clothes all the time. And I didn't realize that was not, I didn't think that was wrong until I started to educate myself a little bit more on what the problems were with this industry, and is that we are consumers. We are over consumers in this world. We consume beyond of what we need, and we end up polluting our oceans and polluting our soils, and just God made the planet in a balanced way, right? Like we can't take more than what we can give. And so also trying to make small batches, one of a kind products, instead of making, millions and millions of products that many people will not end up buying, and they will end up in the garbage. So another part of core value of my business is caring for the environment in the way that how much we produce and how much are we telling our consumers to produce, that it's actually sometimes better to just buy a couple of things and not, 10 to 20 things that we will not end up using. I think those are the main three things.
Yeah, that's awesome. I guess a nerdy way to ask this question is, so in the new heavens and the new earth, is this sort of job going to be around? And will there be handmade things? Yes, I think God values that and loves that. And will people be treated with dignity and equality? Yes, God certainly loves that and values that. And does God want for us to care for what He has made? Absolutely. And so this is just a beautiful example of neighbor love and love for our God that you're describing here. So many people go into business, right, to make money. You have yet actually to mention, I'm in this to make some money, right? You're in this to make a difference. And that's really inspirational. That's beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I was actually very scared to pursue starting a business because I didn't feel qualified. I'm not a business person. I'm a designer, and I just love God's world and God's people. So yeah, it was really incredible when God told me, you can start a business and really create a change through the way that we work with one another and the way that we are paid fairly for our work. And I never seen business that way until he told me that. And I think I never thought I would be running a business because I always thought, businesses is for just, people who want to be rich. So that was really incredible for God to kind of switch my mind into understanding what business is in his eyes.
Yes. Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, it's good to make money too, but
Yeah.
it's beautiful to do it the way you're doing it, Tatiana. We're incredibly proud of you. So I'm assuming this picture that you've got up on the screen of this group of ladies here is your team of artisans. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
You've written recently. I'd love for you to tell our viewers what the COVID-19 crisis is doing to our artisan community. How's it affecting them?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, since mid-March, the artisans had to stop working, like the majority of us in Colombia. But then they are in a specific vulnerable situation because they can't work from home. Obviously their work is handmade. They have a studio, a workshop to go to, so they can't obviously, work in a computer like a lot of us. And then they had a lot of they work with different clients, for example. So I'm one of their clients. They have other clients. Mm-hmm. Some of their clients had placed orders and they weren't able to finish them. So they never got paid for those orders. So let's understand that in this past 2 months, really, they haven't had a single peso as an income. So they are in a place where they haven't really been able to save as much. They live month by month, really. So I was put in a situation where I really needed to do something about it and ask God how he could help us during this hard times, especially for them, because my business is really young. They're not my employees yet. I would love to employ them one day. That's my goal. I want to give them a full salary, employment with benefits, like all of the things that I wish that they had. But right now, because we are not that big, I can't employ them. So therefore, they are kind of independent in that way financially. So what we ended up doing was we just ran a campaign of donations and sales to get them groceries for this 2 months. And I was amazed by God's generosity, even from people that didn't know me as much personally. They just found the website, found the story, and they wanted to help out. So that was amazing to see God's provision in this time. And we were able to buy them not just a couple bags of groceries with essentials, but we were actually able to buy even healthy vegetables, which was great for them to receive that for their families. So 2 really difficult months for them for sure, but it really united us, I feel. I think, as I was mentioning before, that one of the main issues that we're working here in Colombia is trust. It's hard to trust someone here in business. It's hard to, open your heart and open your business to some stranger. So I think this time really strengthened our trust for them to see that I'm just one of their many clients and I don't have any obligations and let's say worldly obligations to help them. But no, I'm not here for the money. I'm not here for the product. I'm here to build a business that embodies family values and embodies kingdom values. So yes, this is my problem. Your problem is my problem. So I feel like this really united us and helped us build stronger ties together. Now, Monday, they will be able to go back to work, which is great news. It's great news to know that there is no cases of COVID in their little town. So they're going to be able to go back to work, just a few artisans at a time at a minimum capacity. And there's some older ladies in the group, so they obviously will stay at home and care for them. But they're really happy that they're going to get back to work, finish the orders that they didn't finish, so they can actually start getting paid again.
Yeah, about how long does it take for an order to be finished and payment to hit for them?
It takes a long time. Generally, to weave, 50 meters of fabric, let's say, that takes up to 3 weeks to a month. Many of those fabrics need to be made into products. So then you take them to the sewers, and then they have to sew them into products. And so all of that, let's say it's between a month and a half. And sadly, the kind of rule in the industry is that many people don't get paid after the products arrived. Sometimes 30 to 60 days after they receive their products. So basically you're selling to a client that will sell to another person, and not until that other person pays me, I won't pay you. It's really bad. It's not helpful for communities like them that are very small. They have a very small workshop. They are generally all of them single mothers and the only income earner in their families. So this just puts a huge financial strain for them. So for them to partner with clients that are willing to even pay them in advance or a deposit is great.
Right. Yeah. One of the reasons that you're on this program is because you're publishing some articles on some of the things that you're telling us right now. It hit my inbox a few weeks ago. You told the story about cotton. And I have to say that when I wake up in the morning and I kind of feel around in my closet and grab out a shirt, it's a cotton shirt, I throw it on. I don't think anymore about the history of what went into my shirt. And you really opened my eyes to the world of organic cotton. And I would love for you to tell our viewers some of the things that you've been learning about the story and impact of cotton, of fabric that we think nothing of typically.
Yeah, sure. So when I was in this whole journey to start the business, and as I was mentioning, I really wanted to honor God by the way that I chose materials. I had to really do my research. I had to really learn about not just the best materials, but really understand the impact of negative materials and why we don't choose them. And so specifically because I'm doing a product that is made with the finest materials, the most sustainable option out there, they end up being a little bit more pricey. So to be able to tell the story to the consumer of why we chose this is really important. So for example, I'll make it really simple. It's really complex, but there are many fibers that like our clothes are made, right? The ones that we can find in the planet, like naturally, are either come from animals or come from plants. And it's amazing to me, like God, even gave us the fibers and the things that He made for us to be able to make clothes. So that's great. But nowadays, let's say 200 years ago max, humans have started to make synthetic fibers. So these are fibers that are made mostly of synthetic materials, and they are mostly made out of plastic and petroleum. So one thing that we all know is that plastic doesn't disintegrate. It's not biodegradable. So even the 90% of all clothes that exist nowadays and textiles are made out of polyester, of plastic. So it's really bad because we use these shirts 2-3 years plus max, and then we throw it, or it always kind of ends up in a garbage and it's just never going to decompose. It's just plastic. So the main idea I had was, okay, we definitely have to go natural. If we choose natural fibers, it's biodegradable. It can go back to the soil. Great. So I started to look more into natural fibers, and I found cotton. Cotton is a fiber that our planet uses widely. It's a fiber that grows almost everywhere in the world, and humans have been using it for like 5,000 years. It's incredible. So I decided to start looking more into cotton, but sadly, I still found more negative information about how humans have started to mass produce cotton. They have started to mass produce it with heavy pesticides, with heavy chemicals to make more cotton. And this is really terrible because it actually damages our soils. It really destroys the soils. It also contaminates water, and it wastes so much water. like, for example, 2,700 liters of water are used to only make one cotton t-shirt. That is so much water, and we see the world around us and so many countries and people around us that are that live in places where water is a problem, and we all know that it's important to save water. So this was not okay for me. It was not okay for me to just use normal cotton. So I continued to study more and found out that there is another option, that there is something called organic cotton. Like food, organic cotton just means that it is grown and harvested organically. There is no need for pesticides. There's no need for harmful chemicals. And the more I looked into it, it actually, I found out that you save so much water. You actually save 88% less water and 62% less energy than conventional cotton. So it is a fiber that it is a way better option than just normal cotton. And also the human impact is it's better because in conventional cotton, a lot of the farmers are exposed to this harmful chemicals, and a lot of them end up having cancer and really bad diseases because of this. So people that work in organic cotton farms are people that generally are living way healthier lives, and the farms that are certified organic actually have a really big important standards to make sure that these farmers are also being paid fairly, and it just seemed the perfect fit. And then when I decided to choose organic cotton, I also found out that the artisans that I work with, the region where they're at, actually historically it's a region where organic cotton was harvested and grown. Their ancestors, the Guane indigenous people, they were experts in growing cotton and spinning it into yarn and making fiber. So culturally, it was really appropriate for me to also use organic cotton. I also believe that it's not okay to just bring any fiber anywhere, because I want to ask my artisans, what do you think about this fiber? Why should we use this fiber? And they were huge advocates for organic cotton because it's part of their culture as well. So yeah, it was really amazing to find this out. And like one big vision for Zuahaza is that we will be able to help the organic cotton industry in Colombia, because sadly, organic cotton nowadays is very hard to find commercially. There's very small farms that do it, and it's not found widely available. So we hope that by our initiative and by sharing our knowledge to people, that people will start to understand that it really matters what their clothes are made out of, what their textiles are made out of, because it cares for people and the planet.
Yeah, that's super. Maybe a selfish consumer like me is wondering, is organic cotton is it itchy?
No, it's actually super soft,
Softer?
like 10 times softer than the normal one. Yeah, it's really nice.
That's awesome. Great. Let me pull some of these pictures up here again. We're almost out of time here. Why don't you tell our viewers how they can be involved of the mission of Zuahaza?
Sure. So I think you can check us out. We have a website, and we have in our website we have a little bit more about all of these things that I was telling you. There is a section of our story, our values, and why we do what we do. So you can check that out. But I want to encourage people to kind of evaluate your habits. It's really unconscious, the way that we live nowadays. We just think that every time we throw something to the garbage, it just disappears. But actually, no, everything that we do has an impact, negatively or positively. So I think for me, personally, this journey of starting this business has helped me evaluate the things that I do nowadays, like how much I buy, what I buy. If I want to buy a gift, sometimes I prefer buying something that I'm aware that the money is going to a cause that I care for, and is going into the proper hands, maybe supporting like a local Colombian business. Like all of those little habits have changed in me, because I've been more passionate and more aware that yeah, it really truly matters where we put our dollars, where we put our pesos. It really matters sometimes. And for my business, I'm trying to show people that these products are not just, like beautiful, soft, really high quality made products for your home, but they're also a reflection of of what we're trying to build here. We're trying to build a family. We're trying to build something that is honoring people, honoring God. And yeah, like my whole prayer for this is that we would be able to truly just show God's love to the world by the way that we do things and by the way that we run this business.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've got the link there below this video, Zuahaza.com. You can check it out and you can browse through. You can contact Tatiana if you're interested in more information, or you can get on her mailing list. She sends out some e-newsletters periodically that are fascinating, that will educate you and perhaps even help shape some of those good, healthy neighbor love and creation love habits that we're talking about. This is fascinating. I wish we could speak longer. I close every program like this, Tatiana, by asking you, the millions of people who are going to watch this video, how do you want them to pray for you as you're on God's mission before they close the video?
Oh, thank you. So mostly for guidance and wisdom. As I said, I am not a business person, and I really just jumped into this with God, and it's been amazing, and I love it. But I really need His wisdom and His growth to show me good decisions to take. What are the next steps that I should take, especially doing this by myself. In that note, I definitely would love prayer for a partner. I would love to have a partner to do this with, because I know God didn't call me to handle all of these things by myself. And I really believe that He has someone out there that is passionate about the same things and that has the skills in business and sales and marketing and all of these other things that I'm not the best at, that they can probably be an incredible partner in this. And just pray for our country, pray for the artisans, pray that, that this business thrives and is sustainable in the way that it's made, but also in its business, that it's a sustainable business that will kind of exist for a long time so that it can help many families, and that we will all just be able to really see God in this. That's my prayer, that everyone that works in it, my clients, everyone will really see that this is different and that is Jesus just telling them that He loves the world and He loves His people.
Amen. Yeah, can I pray for you before we finish up?
Yes, please.
Lord, thank you so much for Tatiana. Thank you for Derek, for her family, for her story. Lord, you are writing a good, beautiful story. And Lord, thank you for the vision of Zuahaza. This is inspiring, Lord, to see a business that has the DNA of neighbor love and love for your creation and love for you, Lord. How we long for this business to prosper. And many, many businesses like this to prosper, Lord, financially, in terms of human resources, Lord, that many more artisans would be able to join this movement, that because it prospers financially, that they would be sustained and treated with dignity and the value that you extend to them as your creation. Lord, that a new partner would come on, perhaps to help Tatiana as she manages the business side of this and is able to focus on caring for her employees and the design side of what she's doing, Lord. Please provide for this, Lord. Overwhelm her and this and the folks that she is serving with fruit. Lord, we ask that you would give her great wisdom. She's asking for wisdom. She's asking for prudence. She's asking for creativity, for guidance. Give her all of that, Lord, abundantly to do what you want her to do. Lord, this is ultimately your business, and all these materials are your materials, and you indeed are the author of all things beautiful. So, Lord, please bless this in the ways that she is asking, and Lord, I pray that you would even impact our hearts as we watch this and as we're challenged by some of the ideas and some of our own impact on the planet and on other people that we will never ever meet that are in this industry. Lord, change our hearts to be more aware of how to love our neighbors and love you by loving the planet that you've given us. So, Lord, I give you my sister. I'm so thankful for her and proud of her, and ask that she would keep it up, Lord, in your strength, for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you so much, Tatiana. Again, check out the link below this video, or the link that you've seen up on the screen during the video. Tatiana, I'm going to let you go and close out our show. Thank you so much for joining me for this time and for your excellent work. We're really proud of you and to have you as a part of our faith community.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be part of it too.
Okay, God bless you. Ciao.
Bye.
All right, everybody, that's all the time that we have here on UCB on Mission. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video. This is such a beautiful story. Share it around, and do pray for Tatiana and the people that she's working with, the people that she's serving. We'll see you tomorrow morning, Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Columbia time for our weekly worship service. We've got our normal content coming at you for next week, another great episode of UCB on Mission. If you are a Christian, then you are following Jesus on his mission. What will that mission look like for you next week? Let's talk about it soon. Take care. Bye-bye.